First off, I just have to share. I want to just thank everyone in my unit for your excellence these past couple years. Because of you, that I get access to really cool people like Jacqueline, because her and I met on the top sales director trip to Scotland. And I just love sharing this story. So her and JC, they were just like so cute and like welcoming. And I was like, I don't know anybody, and they didn't really know anybody. So we just kind of like connected right away, which was really fun. And then throughout the week, we kept hanging out. And then this is my unit will find this hilarious. So yesterday, Jacqueline's like, "Oh my gosh, your team, like your football team is playing." And I'm like, "Girl, no, I am not a Vikings fan." Um, my girls will think this is hilarious because they know how big of a Packer fan I am. But so the way that I really connected with Jacqueline is that we were in Scotland, it was pouring rain, and like the day was done, but we weren't done. And so we got this cab, and it's like these weird cabs they have in Scotland where you face each other. So it's her and her husband, JC's husband. JC was taking a nap at the hotel, and then Darren and I. And we find this Packer bar that's actually playing the game, and it's like an obscene late hour of the night. And we got to hang out and just like they weren't really watching the game, but we were. And it was just so much fun to kind of have those moments. But it was during that Packer game that I knew right away. I was like, "Ooh, I want Jacqueline to talk with you guys because well, I'll let her tell her story." So I want to introduce her. So Independent Senior Sales Director Jacqueline Schnautz is on a mission to help women grow in their confidence. She believes that confidence unlocks your greatest potential. True that. She started her Mary Kay business in November of 2016. Y'all, that's like 7 years ago, okay, for all you math whizzes. And after 1 year and 4 months, of focused action, she earned the status of independent sales director. She's been in the National Court of Sales 2 times. She has earned the use of 3 career cars, 2 of them being the pink Cadillac. In 2022, her unit was the most improved unit in Texas. That's a big deal because Texas is huge and there's like a bazillion sales directors there. So that's really cool. Her unit has finished the Circle of Excellence 2 times, so 2 trips, and has earned 2 fabulous top sales directors to Scotland and Spain. And it was so happy for her and so sad at the same time. So when we were in Scotland, her and her unit earned the prestige trip. So they got to go on to Ireland and get spoiled and pampered there. She is motivated daily by the opportunity to work with women and help them grow their confidence and potential to live extraordinary lives. She loves working with a company that allows her to design her own schedule, be a present wife, and impact lives all at the same time. And she does it so well and so gracefully. In fact, even this year, she got married and moved into a new house and earned a trip. So the girl is doing it all. So I'm going to spotlight you here in a second. Oh, I gotta find her. Here she is. Okay. So take it away, Jacqueline. We're so excited and so grateful that you're on. And it was so much fun being on your meeting too tonight.
Oh my goodness. Well, wow, you guys, thank you so much for letting me be here today. I just want to thank each and every one of you for just being on tonight and plugging in to grow your business. I feel super honored to come and share because first of all, I know you guys know this, but your director is amazing. I absolutely love Emily. She's so funny. And so I think that's one of the reasons we really connected in Scotland is because she's just so real and so funny and so down to earth. And, she's good people. She's good people. But I have to be honest with y'all, I don't watch football. Okay. But my husband is huge into football. And so that's why when we went to the football, I knew that Emily was into football. And so yesterday when I texted you and I was like, "Oh, game." Because I just knew that football was on, or was it Sunday? I don't even remember. Yeah, that was yesterday. I just knew that there was a game playing. So that's so funny. But I'm going to put it on gallery view for me just because I want to see your beautiful faces. Thank you all for letting me share my story tonight. So like Emily said, my name is Jacqueline Schnautz. I am 29 years old. I live in New Braunfels, Texas. I just recently moved from Austin to New Braunfels, if any of you guys are familiar with Texas area. But basically what that means is I moved from a big city to a smaller town. And I'm a big city girl. So this is a new way of life for me. But I am super, super excited to be here. And So I want to first just start by sharing a little bit about who I am so we can kind of be friends and you can hear how my journey started in 2016. You guys, in 2016, when I started my Mary Kay business, I was 6 months out of college. What a whirlwind of a time. So I'm just going to take you back to when I first started. So my mom was a Mary Kay sales director. So any of you guys on here have children or that you would like to be in Mary Kay? You're like, one day I want them to be on my team or whatever it is, right? Okay, so I want to give you some advice that be patient. Be patient, okay? Because it would never in a million years was I ever going to start a Mary Kay business. And I said, Mom, don't even ask. Like, don't even ask. Because we have it made up in our mind that that is mom's thing. And it's in my whole perception before I started Mary Kay was for your grandma and people didn't really make money. Those were two things that I thought before starting Mary Kay. And here's the thing. I went to college, I got a degree, I got a real job. And when I was listening to your story, Emily, I'm like, our stories are so similar. But you guys, I worked for an online wedding magazine. And so what that meant is I sat in front of a computer all day and I didn't talk to a soul. What I did was I reviewed submissions from photographers and I put together these cutesy little blog posts and I put them on a website. And after a while, you guys, I was 23, I think at the time. This was right out of college. I started to have an existential crisis. I was like, what am I even doing? Why am I talking about the way linens look on a table at a wedding? Like, why does any of this even matter? I didn't talk to anybody. And the real reality is everything really does matter. But if you can't see the result of what your hard work is doing every day, like, I don't know what bride this is affecting. And that is something that is so amazing about our business is when a woman walks out of your appointment, you see it. When you're communicating with her, you see it. You get to see that result right then and there. And that just makes you really know that what you're doing matters. So anyways, long story short, I sat in front of a computer all day and I was a clock watcher. I don't know if anyone can relate, but I would just look at the clock and I'd be like, really, it's only been 15 minutes. Like, when can I leave? And I would look out my window and I would be like, I just want to be outside. I didn't know it at the time, but I soon found out. I think I'm an extrovert. I needed to be around people. I'm like, I was just so bored. So what I did, what any other 23-year-old would do when they're not happy is they just quit. That's what I did. I just quit, no plan B. And that did not work out well because I had to have a place to live. So what I did is I moved back in with my parents and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. And at the time, my dad told me, look, Jackie, you can't live here without a job. You have a degree. You can't just live with us. And so I just went and got the first job I could get, which was at a bank. And I was a bank teller. And you guys, I was not good at that job. Multiple times I gave Long John Silver's an extra 100 by accident. And you guys, at that bank, if you messed up money, they took it out of your check. So like it did not take me long to find out like that was just not my skill. And so I had to figure out something else. But anyways, I was a bank teller. Counting money all day, you guys. That was not my money, and that is not fun. And so it was during that time when I was still living with my parents. I had this whole idea of what after college was going to look like. And then you just get like smacked in the face with reality, like, oh, it's not that great. And so this is what happened. So my mom had just earned a trip to Cabo San Lucas from her national sales director. I don't even know if she like earned a car or became a sales director. She did something. She earned a trip. And so she came home one day and I was sitting at the kitchen table. And I remember this so vividly because this was the moment in time everything changed. But I was sitting at the kitchen table and I remember my mom coming home and she was so happy. Like she was just on this high of like, she just had the best time. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm 23 years old and I hate my life and my mom loves her life. Like, what is wrong? Like, what am I doing wrong? And so that was the moment in time my mom like sat down at the table with me. I think I was like in tears because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And so she told me, she said, Jackie, I've always thought you'd be good at a Mary Kay business. Why don't you look into it? And, I was still kind of apprehensive, like, I just don't know. I don't know. And she said, look, don't hear it from me. I want you to go talk to my mentor, ask her any crazy question you have. And if you like it, great. And if you don't, great. Like, I think you would be really good. And so there was something in me that was like, what else do I have to lose? That I decided to go talk to her mentor, and she let me ask any crazy question. And you guys, I'm going to back up and give you some context because I think context is so important. Even though my mom was in Mary Kay since I was 11 years old, I really didn't know what Mary Kay was. She didn't really tell us about it. My mom was a sales director at that point in time. I think that's how she earned that trip. She had just become a sales director or something, but I didn't understand what any of that meant. My mom also had a corporate job. So she was an executive at a corporate company. And so like, even though my mom made good money, I didn't know what was Mary Kay, what was, I just didn't know. I didn't know anything about it. Okay. So I just hear what I hear on the internet, and that's a scary place to be. So, when I went to lunch with her national sales director, which I didn't know what a national was. Okay. But I laugh at this today because of now what I know. But I'm sitting across the table at an Olive Garden with her national, and I'm asking her all my crazy questions. And I'm like, do people really make money? Like, have you made money? And I'm asking this to a national sales director. Okay. You guys realize the picture now. It was so funny. And so she was so graceful and just professional in how she answered that. Like, she didn't make me feel any type of way. She just answered my questions. And, and what was so great about this is what I decided leaving there was it's $100. It's $100. I really just told myself this, look, I don't think I'm really going to do anything much with this, but it's $100. I'll come in and I'll learn business skills. That was it. I'm going to come in, I'm going to learn business skills. So I started my Mary Kay business, you guys, and what got me going, because as you heard Emily share, I became a sales director a year and 4 months after that. What got me going was my disdain for where I was. Like, I was so uncomfortable working as a bank teller and living in my parents' house, which I thought I had graduated from. Like, I was just like, I can't stay in this position. And I think when you're uncomfortable enough with where you're at, you are going to get so hyper focused on what you need to do to get out of that. And so I was so uncomfortable. So what I did was I literally just did whatever my mentor told me. And my national was Terry Schaefer. I don't know if you guys know her. She is in Diamond. She's now retired, but so Terry Schaefer, so she told me exactly what to do, and I just did it without any question. Okay. And so I got to work. I did parties. I understood and learned what full circle was. Coming right out of college, I think really helped because I had a very student mindset. And if you are wanting to see some results, if you are wanting to turn a new leaf in your business, I want to encourage you to come to the table with a student mindset. Come to learn, develop, and get better at what you're doing. And so I came in and I had no idea how to run a business. I had no idea what sales were. I just came to learn and grow. And I honestly did not even look at the results in the beginning. Okay. I did not even care about them. I just wanted to remember, I joined for business skills. I just wanted to learn. And I think coming in with that mindset of like getting better, I got really good at booking an appointment, coaching an appointment, selling at that appointment, booking another appointment, her as a hostess, and booking her for a career chat. In that order, keep going. I got really, really, really good at that, to the point where I then became a sales director a year after. There's stuff that happened in the middle of that because showing up to events is so important. so important for the trajectory of where you're going. Because remember, I still had the mindset of I'm just here to learn. I'm not here to stay. And it wasn't until I went to my very first seminar. I went as a red jacket because my mom told me you have to go as a red jacket because they're giving them away for free if you come. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Whatever, I'll do it. And so I went as a red jacket, but it was that moment in time I heard Pamela Shaw speak from the stage. You guys might have been at that seminar. It was 2017. I will never forget. 2017, she shared her speech, "You've got to fight for the life you want to live." Anybody remember that speech? It is on YouTube if you want to go YouTube it. I just got chills just remembering it. Like I've rewatched that on YouTube like 30 times. Like go rewatch something that gets you going, because if I'm having a bad day, I'm going to watch that and I'm going to get fired up. And so there is something about what she shared, and so authentically, and so it just moved me, you guys. I cried. I was in the audience, in the nosebleeds, by the way. Yes, we were in the nosebleeds. I don't know if you guys have ever been in the nosebleeds. We were in the nosebleeds. But I cried, and I don't cry. I'm not a crier. And so I was so moved by what this company was doing and what this mission is and what it can do for somebody's life, that I decided when I left Dallas, Texas, that seminar, that this was going to be my career. This was going to be my calling. I was so determined. And so the next seminar, I came as a sales director. And so Emily just shared this on my units meeting, but that when a woman has made up her mind, when you have decided with passion what you're going to do, you're going to do it. There's nothing that's going to stand in your way when you've decided. Okay, so that was all great. Became a sales director. That was in a year and a few months. Then enters my first year as a leader. And that was my growing year. That was my growing year, you guys. And that's what I'm going to share today, are some tips on how I moved through that really, really hard year to where I am today. Because have any of you been through a season in your business where you're like, I am going to throw in the towel? Like, I'm done. Okay. I say it was a growing year. It might have been a growing 2 years. It was a year and a half to 2 years, but it was my first year as a sales director. And whoa, did I get another smack in the face when I became a sales director. There was a lot I had to grow in. And so I was on Struggle Bus City. Okay. I was on Struggle Bus City. Everything was going great. And then when I became a sales director, for some reason, I thought I needed to become a manager. And I needed to manage what everybody was doing. And I forgot how to be a consultant. And that's the worst way to lead people. A leader, so the way I've heard it is, don't be the travel agent, be the tour guide. So you got to be in there. You got to be doing it because you're showing them the way. You're not telling them the way. And so that was something I really had to learn in my first year. But there were multiple times where I was like, I'm not good at this, and here's what it was. It was a roller coaster. Anyone ever felt a roller coaster in your business? Like when my team was doing well, I was doing really well. And when they were not doing well, I was not doing well. And so you might feel that too. When you are having lots of sales and your customers are happy, you're happy. And when they're not, you're not. And it's just like every day, where are we going to be on this roller coaster? And that's exhausting. And so I told myself multiple times, but there was in this whole process, I met my fiance. Well, we were just dating at that time, but we were seriously dating. And I don't know if we were engaged at this point. I don't think so. But I told him, I said, if I don't make X amount of money by X date, I'm out of Mary Kay. I told him that. And here's what happened, you guys. X date came. I wasn't making X amount of money, and I was still in Mary Kay. And so he calls me out and he says, so you said, what's happening here? And so there was something in me that couldn't let go, because I knew I knew deep down I was here for more. I knew deep down there was a big reason. I knew deep down I could do it, but I just couldn't figure it out. And so there was one pivotal moment where I was having a conversation with my mentor. And this is why, you guys, when you are confronted, you got to reach up to your mentors. You got to reach up. You got to go learn something. But anyway, so I was having a conversation with one of my mentors, and she said, Jackie, forget about Mary Kay. What are you doing to develop you as a person? What are you doing to develop you as a person? And I said, what do you mean? I don't know. What am I supposed to be doing? What do you mean? What do you mean forget about Mary Kay? Like, what does that mean, develop me? And so that took me on my journey of personal development. And oh my goodness, if there's one thing that you can do to change the reality you are currently in, is to change you first. Change you first, and everything else will change in suit of that. So one thing that I started to do, because she literally said, forget about Mary Kay. What are you doing to develop you? I said, I didn't know I was supposed to be developing me. One thing I started doing was listening to the John Maxwell podcast every single week. This was something for me to grow in leadership. You guys, I knew how to book a party. I knew how to coach a party. I knew how to sell product, right? I got there in a year. I knew how to do that, but I didn't even know how to lead myself. I didn't know how to coach and lead other people. And so if I wanted to grow into her, that person that could do that, I had to start learning how to do that. And so one of the things I started doing was listening to the John Maxwell podcast every single day to grow in my leadership. And you guys, this roller coaster I used to be on, after 1 year of doing this, I might be jumping ahead a little bit, but after 1 year of doing this, I'm just going to tell you this one moment in time. I just remember how powerful this really is. It goes into your subconscious. If you listen to this podcast every day or every week, whatever, when you're getting ready, if it becomes like a daily habit for you, that stuff is getting in there. It's getting in there. And so I remember one time having a phone call with one of my team members, and she was telling me that she was not doing Mary Kay anymore. Like, she was going to stop doing Mary Kay because she was taking on this program at work or school or something, and blah, blah, blah. And I just remember that I remember feeling like, okay, well, guess what? You know, I'm here for you when you're ready. If and when you're ready. And in the meantime, I would love to have you as my VIP customer. And I just remember feeling this really stable. And that old Jackie would have been down here because someone told me they weren't interested anymore. I was living, if they were good, I was good. If they were bad, I was bad, you know? And how can a leader do that? A leader has to be stable. A leader has to be the one out front, whether they're on the train or not on the train, because I have something to do here. And so I knew after that phone call, I was like, I have grown. I have grown so much because my mindset was so stable. It was stable. And so I just got to tell you that moment in time, because it was just 1 year of listening to the John Maxwell podcast every single week. Okay, so here was the turning moment for me. Starting to do personal development, you guys. During that time, I learned that I had to take personal responsibility for what I wanted to see. At the time, I was feeling very owed. Like, I was feeling I had been a Mary Kay for 2 years. I did all this work to get here, and I deserve a higher paycheck. I was feeling owed, like Mary Kay owed me. And that is what kept me down here. And it wasn't until I started to develop myself and to learn and grow as a leader that I realized it's my responsibility to change what I want to see. It's my responsibility to go and get it. Look, we all have the same opportunity. It's what we do with it. And anytime you are questioning what you're doing and feeling owed, I want to just remind you to go to the basics. What are we doing here? We buy a product for $1, we sell it for $2. It's pretty simple. There's nothing else. I mean, there's no it's simple, right? It's so simple. We earn a 50% profit and then we teach other people how to do that too. And so if you ever need to fall back in love with the opportunity, I want to encourage you to read Mary Kay's autobiography. I did that during this time as well. And it really made a difference for me to get back on track of what this mission is. Remember that mission I was so passionate about when I became a sales director? I had to learn that again. And so listening or reading Mary Kay's Miracles Happen autobiography, I highly recommend if you want to fall back in love with your business. Reread it, even if you've already read it. Okay, so I had to take responsibility. And what that looked like was me being able to create what I wanted to see. So at this time, COVID started, and it was actually a blessing to my business. And let me explain why. Because COVID started, my national actually looked to me and said, Jackie, what is social media? What are these things? Like how do we work virtually? And what this allowed me to do, it wasn't even about social media. It wasn't even about working virtually. What this allowed me to do was to stand in my strengths and to stand in some kind of confidence for what I was doing. So be at the source of what you're creating, because when you're creating it, you're going to be fueled by passion and you're going to do it well. And so I was at the source of what I was creating. I was doing virtual at-home facial sessions, and I created it. No one told me how to create it. Like, I created it, and I was doing it so well. And I was so confident in what I was doing because I created it, that I was reaching out to my chicken list. I reached out to girls I went to high school with, that I went to college with, that I had never reached out to before. And so I was taking responsibility because I wanted to see that in my unit. And so be at the source of what you're doing and work in your strengths. So what are your strengths? Be at the source, because when you're fueled by passion and fueled by what you're doing, you're going to do it well. You're going to do it well. Okay, so things to develop yourself. So a few tips on how to become a great leader, how to move up into leadership. First, Emily talked about this on my meeting, but become that person first. Okay, so what does a strong leader do? How do you develop yourself into a strong leader? So what are you doing for personal development? Are you listening to a podcast every week around leadership, if that's something you want? Are you falling back in love with the opportunity so you can share it with passion? Are you reading Miracles Happen by Mary Kay Ash? Or maybe you need to become more passionate about the products that you're selling. If you want to grow in sales, product knowledge. When you are passionate about what you're sharing, it shows, and you're going to do it well. So product knowledge. So one tip I want to share with you guys for having consistent results. So when you're working in passion, you're going to be going, right? When you're working in your joy zone, when you're working in passion, you're going to be going. And what happened to me the year that we earned our very first trip, a lot of amazing things aligned. But I was so excited and I was so passionately working, you guys, that I had no boundaries around my business. So I want to talk to you about something important so that you don't hit burnout. Has anyone ever experienced burnout where you're going, you're getting all these results, and then you have to stop? And then you're going, you're getting all these results, and then you have to stop. Has anyone ever had that experience in their business? I did. I hit that. And what that is called burnout. And so one of the ways that you prevent that is by having boundaries and working intentionally on the things that matter most. And so one great thing that I know Emily has is y'all's IPA sheet. This is so brilliant, because a lot of the times, if you feel like you're working Mary Kay for 60 hours, if you really look at it and you look at that IPA sheet, you're going to know you're not working for 60 hours. But why does it feel like you're working for 60 hours? Because you're thinking about it for 60 hours. Your brain doesn't know the difference whether you're working or just thinking about work. So stop thinking about work and do the IPAs, because you could get results in less time. So if you feel like you're working a lot, I want to challenge you to audit your time. What are you actually doing? because a lot of it is just a game we're playing in our head because we're thinking about it so much that it feels like we're working for so much time. So that was one thing I had to do. Because what we're doing here is we're building sustainability. We're building sustainability. And so a few things that I want to just share, and then I'll close it up. The next tip is to plan your work and work your plan. So Mary Kay Ash said that. Plan your work and work your plan. One of the ways that I prevent burnout is that I have what I call a weekly skeleton. And so this looks like what your week looks like at a glance. And so, for example, what are your non-negotiable priorities first? My first one is one full day off. One full day off, work, no working. That's just for me to fill up my cup. The second thing is a date night with my husband every night. That gets plugged in. The third thing are my morning and evening routines. That gets plugged in. And any time-bound responsibilities, that gets plugged in. So if you work like a 9 to 5 or something like that, that gets plugged in. Okay, then you see what time you have available to build your dream. Okay, that's the third thing, right? Mary Kay said, faith first, family second, career third, not 33rd. So then that one gets plugged in, your Mary Kay time-bound activities or your Mary Kay activities. And so for me, I like to theme my days. So there's specific days that I work on booking and coaching appointments. There are specific days I work on things with my unit, but it would be, you would theme your days. Okay, so what this would look like, specific days you're booking, specific days you're holding appointments, and then getting really consistent at that activity week in and week out. And so I know that Emily talks about consistency as well, and that is it right there. So just to kind of go over a few of my tips is first to develop yourself. What are you doing daily to develop yourself? What area do you need to develop in? Okay, is it leadership? Is it you need to fall in love with the opportunity more? Is it the products you need to fall in love with? Is it what do you need to learn to grow? Where do you need to develop yourself? Start doing that daily and weekly. And then the second thing is to get a weekly skeleton. Get a weekly skeleton so you can prevent burnout, but also most importantly, so you can focus on the things that really matter, the things that move the needle forward, which are your IPAs. So everything else is not as important, but your IPAs every single day to move the needle forward. That's how you take focused action, and you can cut everything else out. Okay, so that is everything I want